The manhwa opens with a boy named Hong, who is thanking everyone for tuning into his solo broadcast channel. He is scrolling through the comments, his eyes landing on a message from a newbie who has just awakened and is already asking for restaurant recommendation. Hong lights up a little and casually drops his first gem, recommending Hyun Woo's one meal set near the Jongyo 3GA Dungeon Administration office. According to him, they give a generous spread of side dishes, and the pork cutlet is absolutely amazing. Then he adds another recommendation, saying that if anyone ever wants to splurge and eat something pricey, there's Etramort near the Apgujeong Hunter Market. Word on the street is that even C and L affiliated hunters have their team dinners there. But the chat just keeps spamming him, asking for fresh spots and hidden gems. That's when Hong suddenly remembers a place that even he thought was strange. He recalls visiting a unique little cafe not long ago, one that is located right in front of the Abyss Dungeon Gate. There's something scribbled on the sign, but he admits he has no clue what it means. The weirdest part is that the dungeon gate is literally the only thing in that area, and yet somehow, there's just this one cafe standing there like it spawned out of nowhere. He remembers the atmosphere being eerily quiet because the place was totally empty, no customers in sight. But there were two companions, one cat and, oddly enough, a slime. Hong had chuckled about it then, finding the vibe both bizarre and low-key comforting. Since he was thirsty, he just ordered an Americano. But from the very first whiff, he knew this wasn't ordinary coffee. The smell alone hit different, so strong and rich that it felt like it belonged in another league altogether. When he finally took a sip, he nearly blacked out from how insanely good it was. No exaggeration, this coffee was actually god tier. Before he even realized it, he had downed 2 full cups. After finishing up, he headed straight to the dungeon. And maybe it was just in his head, maybe placebo, but even when mobs managed to land hits on him, his HP bar didn't drop. Of course, the moment he shares this, someone in chat throws shade. They comment that even if this was viral marketing, it'd be the dumbest ad ever. They ask if he seriously believes drinking coffee keeps HP full and tell him to stop capping. Hong gets pissed at that. He argues back in frustration like, come on, he barely has 30 viewers right now. How would this even be some kind of viral ad campaign? He swears on his rank that the coffee was insane, beyond real. As he's about to wrap up the story and log off, he remembers that just as he was leaving the cafe after finishing his drink, he saw someone from the Chongya Guild there. His viewers still don't buy his story. They laugh, they mock, they brush him off as just another low-ranked hunter trying to hype something useless. And that's what cuts him the most. It's already bad enough living as a low rank, grinding at the bottom of the food chain, but now they've got to mock him on top of it? Hong slouches back in his chair, his expression dimming. Still, he can't stop replaying the taste in his mouth. That coffee, no matter what anyone says, was seriously god tier. He ends the live with a sharp note of defiance, saying that if they don't believe him, then they should just go there and try it themselves. With that declaration, the scene shifts, and suddenly we see that very cafe beginning to fill with customers. Out front, a flustered young woman is spiraling, wondering how it all came to this. She had wanted nothing more than a slow, peaceful life. She quit her wage slave job because she was sick of it, and now fate has turned her into something even worse, about to become a coffee slave instead. The narration zooms out, reminding us of the world she lives in. Awakened beings, those supernatural hunters, first appeared 23 years ago. They fought back against the monsters spilling out of mysterious dungeons that had erupted across the world, restoring peace to humanity. Naturally, society became obsessed with these saviors. Being a hunter meant fortune, status, and global fame. Instead of dreaming about winning the lottery, people now fantasized about awakening. This was the age of hunters. But not everyone awakened. Not everyone had power. And the hunter world was something completely disconnected from the life of an ordinary office worker like her. At least, that's what she believed. The story circles back to her life. She remembers those nights crying because she just wanted to go home from work. It was definitely a story that had nothing to do with her, except her reality was just as crushing. They barely paid her anything, yet forced her into overtime every single day. She would rage inside, wondering why they didn't even pay for the extra hours. If this wasn't modern-day slavery, then what was it? Her life felt like an endless hamster wheel: wake, work, suffer, sleep, repeat. Just like any other day, she was exhausted, dragging herself home from work. Then chaos erupted, people shouting in the streets that a rift had suddenly appeared. Reported to the Dungeon Management Bureau, they screamed. Someone yelled at her to watch out. But it was already too late. The ground split under her feet. She cried out in despair, asking why the rift had to open right under her. She was pulled in, sucked into the dungeon. and in the end, she was slaughtered by monsters. After working non-stop from morning to night, day after day, she died such a meaningless death. If she had known her end would come like that, she thinks bitterly, she would have ordered fried chicken the night before. She would have taken her vacation days and gone on a trip. She would have quit her job without hesitation. Dying like that felt so unfair, so bitter, so absurd. And yet her consciousness doesn't fade. Instead, it feels sharper. There's even a sound, one she hears every morning, something so familiar. Her phone alarm. Her eyes fly open, and she bolts upright in bed. She looks around frantically and realizes this is her old apartment from 3 years ago. She pinches herself. It hurts, which means she really did return to the past. But she definitely died in that dungeon. She's sure of it. And yet, here she is. Did the dungeon feel pity for her miserable life and decide to rewind her story? Whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. Because to her, this is an absolute win. Since she has been granted this golden chance, she resolves to live her second life differently. This time, she won't waste her days shackled to that hamster wheel. The very next day, she throws her resignation letter straight in her boss's face. Goodbye to endless overtime and corporate slavery. Her boss panics, begs her to talk it over. But she's already walking away with her head held high. No way she's wasting her second life in a hellhole like that. From now on, she has only one goal: work less, rest more. Live a peaceful life, drink good coffee, and heal her soul. That is how she eventually stumbles on the idea that changes everything. She finds herself opening a small coffee shop in a place almost no one ever sets foot in. A lonely, quiet spot right in front of the great dungeon. Someone screams out in disbelief, reminding everyone that 20 years ago, an otherworldly space appeared right in the middle of Seoul, and with it came a massive dungeon, the first ever in Korea, known as the Abyss. Before the Abyss tore open reality, this neighborhood was nothing more than an ordinary shopping district, buzzing with people and weekend shoppers. But everything changed. Everyone eventually left, after receiving government compensation, abandoning what was once a lively street. Now, standing at the edge of those memories, the only shop that remains is the one the female protagonist has decided to hold on to. It has been abandoned for a while, but when she steps inside, it feels better than she expected. The dust clings to forgotten shelves, but the bones of the place are still strong, still alive. With a fresh sign and some deep cleaning, this ruin could easily transform into something new, something alive again. Hope stirs in her chest just as her phone begins to ring. She picks it up, and the moment she hears the voice on the other end, she freezes. It's her cousin, the only family she has left since her parents passed away. She's about to greet him warmly, but instead, he fires off at her in that blunt, all too familiar way of his. These days, people are abandoning their studies and their jobs, running around claiming they've awakened powers, messing with their lives like it's some kind of game. He sounds almost scolding, almost parental, and he's already bracing himself against the possibility that she might be one of those reckless people. His words hit hard, and irritation sparks in her chest, but deep down she knows this is just who he is. He pushes because he cares, but still, it pisses her off. He asks why she isn't saying anything, demanding an answer, and with a long, tired sigh she explains that it's not like that at all. His relief is obvious, though he quickly doubles down, ordering her not to pay attention to hunters or anything dungeon-related, insisting she live a normal, safe life. He is, after all, the deputy guild master of Burn Guild, Kwon Ji-won, a man who's seen the chaos firsthand. But she tells Ji-won what she hasn't admitted to anyone else yet: she left her job because she wanted to do something else, something that felt like hers. Ji-won, half baffled and half suspicious, presses her further. What exactly does she plan on doing? The answer comes sharp and certain: she wants to open a cafe. He questions her instantly. Why a cafe? Why out of nowhere? But she pushes back, it isn't sudden at all. She's been thinking about it for a long time, quietly dreaming of it even while tied to her job. She's already chosen a location, and when she reveals it, Ji-won can't hide his shock. Seoul, Yunggu, Dungeon Gate 3GA, 16RO. The address rattles him, but she doesn't waver. Yes, that's the place. That's the cafe their grandmother used to run. She admits that she always felt guilty about leaving it empty and abandoned, too wrapped up in her own busy life to return. Even when the whole world said it was dangerous, their grandmother had stood her ground, protecting the cafe until the very end. And more than that, it's the place they used to visit together as kids, the place that still holds echoes of laughter, warmth, and the stubborn spirit of the woman who raised them. Now, she wants to bring it back, to breathe life into it again, even if the world outside is scarred by dungeons and hunters. He scoffs, the sound sharp even through the phone, and mutters that calling him brother like that almost makes it sound as if she's being serious. His tone hardens, his glare practically audible as he points out the obvious: she's planning to run a cafe in that dangerous place, following in their grandmother's footsteps. He shades her with another blow, asking if she even understands how much preparation it takes to open a cafe, if she's ever even brewed a single cup of coffee before. Yet, like a good brother, despite all his tough talk, he softens at the end. If anything happens, he tells her, she should let him know immediately. She's startled but grateful for the offer, answering with a quiet okay. After the call ends, she sits there for a moment, feeling a strange mix of relief and awkwardness. Talking to Kwon Ji-won after so long is uncomfortable, like brushing against an old wound. But there's no time to dwell on it. The cafe won't clean itself. She glances around, eyes sweeping the dusty counters and faded shelves. This place has definitely been abandoned for a long while. There's so much to do before she can even think about opening for business. It's a mountain of work, yet compared to the soul-crushing grind of her old corporate job, this feels like nothing. This, at least, is hers. Her gaze snags on an old television sitting in the corner, its screen dark and frame heavy with age. She wonders what kind of programs her grandmother used to watch on it, or if it was just background noise in the cafe's golden days. The remote looks ancient, its buttons worn smooth, and she hesitates, thinking she wouldn't even know how to turn it on. And then without warning, the television flickers to life. She stiffens, heart pounding. She didn't even press anything. On screen, a message appears, checking eligibility. Her breath catches. This is insane. Before she can process it, the TV speaks again, that she has finally arrived, child who inherits the blood of the eligible. He is the one who governs the system and have been waiting. Her mind blanks. What is this? Why is this happening? And more importantly, why is the video so long? The system continues, undeterred by her silence, to please input her name, age, and blood type. She tries pressing buttons, tries to turn it off, but it won't shut down. The screen keeps glowing, waiting. She sighs, slumping slightly. Well, she's bored anyway. Might as well play along. Her name is Kwon. She types. Age? She thinks for a second. It went back 3 years, right? 23 years old. The screen blinks, then presents her with another question. Among 4 choices, which is most important to her? She doesn't even hesitate. Rest, she answers immediately. Input completed. The test is over and asks her to please check her results. Before she can move, something begins to appear. A door, or at least the outline of one, materializes before her eyes. The screen flickers with another line. The system eagerly awaits the eligible's arrival. Open the door and check her results. She stares, frozen. What door? She's supposed to open this thing? It looks completely suspicious, like something out of a horror game. The message keeps repeating, calm but insistent, open the door and check her results. Her pulse races. Fine. She'll check, but only a little. This is still her grandmother's cafe, after all. There shouldn't be any dangerous items here, right? She edges closer, making a plan in her head. She'll open the door just a tiny bit, peek inside, and if she sees even a hint of monsters, she's slamming it shut immediately. She can't let her guard down. Her hand trembles as she grips the edge and pulls it open, inch by inch. And then she blinks. No darkness, no monsters, no horror. Instead, a stunning garden stretches out before her, vibrant and unreal. Butterflies flit lazily between glowing flowers, and soft beams of sunlight spill through an unseen sky. The soft breeze brushes gently against her fingertips, a fleeting comfort that quickly vanishes as she notices something unsettling. The door she entered through is gone. Startled, she shouts in confusion, demanding to know where the door disappeared to. Panic bubbles up, and she begins to throw a full tantrum, begging to be let out of this strange place. But before her cries can echo further, the system speaks, its voice calm yet commanding. The arrival of the eligible has been confirmed. An agent is being created. Her head jerks up, her thoughts spiraling. An agent is being created? What does that even mean? She wonders, glancing sharply toward the cat that has been lingering nearby. A strange thought sparks inside her. Did this creature come through the door just like her? The system's voice interrupts her speculation, repeating that it has been waiting for her arrival, then politely requesting that she give the agent a name. Shock hits her like a lightning strike. So it really is this cat that is speaking? A glowing screen appears out of nowhere, letters floating in front of her eyes, urging her to enter a name. Her pulse quickens. The reason she ended up in this bizarre place was because of a mysterious notification, and now it feels like following the instructions might be the only way to get out of here. She racks her brain, trying to think of a fitting name. Tentatively, she offers, Meowie. Yet the cat's sharp expression instantly makes it clear he doesn't approve. He looks utterly unimpressed. Annoyed, she frowns, asking what's wrong with Meowie. It's such a timeless, obvious cat name, after all. But the system interjects once again, reminding her that this agent is meant for her, and therefore she must think seriously about the name. Reluctantly, she tries again, throwing out a few more names, but none of them seem to land. The cat rejects each one with the same cold indifference. That's when it hits her. Maybe she's approaching this the wrong way. What kind of naming approach should she even use here? Her mind drifts back to her own name, the one given to her by her grandmother. A name chosen with thought and intention, not just thrown together at random. Her grandmother had named her as the fourth grandchild in their family line, and somehow, standing in this strange, otherworldly space tied to her grandmother's store, the connection feels significant. She studies the cat closely, and finally suggests the name Myo. This time, his gaze the faintest flicker of satisfaction shows in those feline eyes. A small paw swipes playfully through the air, an adorable little motion that makes her heart practically melt. She's already head over heels for his cuteness, leaning forward, about to reach out and touch him, but the cat snaps at her sharply, warning her not to touch things recklessly when traveling. She freezes, completely baffled. Her eyes dart around the space, certain she must have misheard. But no. Myo confirms with a commanding calm that it was indeed him who spoke. A talking cat. She can hardly believe it. He scoffs at her disbelief, his tone edged with superiority, asking if she really thought he was just some ordinary cat. As the agent of the system, he declares that he has been waiting for the arrival of the eligible all this time. He even mutters that he thought he was going to die from the endless wait. Then, he instructs her to place her hand over it. Hesitant but drawn by curiosity, she does as told. Myo explains that he is about to grant her special permission. Her fingers close gently around his small paw, and with a mischievous grin she blurts out, "Jelly pink." Immediately, the system announces in its resounding tone, "Eligibility confirmed." The system has been activated. Abilities begin to register in her mind like code being burned into her body. The system's mechanical voice resounds again, cold and absolute. Abilities will be granted based on the test results. Skills and achievements have been granted. Skills and achievements have been granted. Class, cafe owner has been awakened. She freezes, her whole brain glitching. Did that mean she just awakened? Awakening. The phenomenon where someone suddenly gains supernatural powers and qualifies to become a hunter. No one knows exactly how it happens, but everyone knows that even non-hunters who awaken can flip their lives overnight, rolling in money, status, and security. And yet here she is. Not a hunter, not a warrior, not some prodigy. Just Quan, a tired K-office worker, careening straight into awakening. She almost laughs. This is insane. Is she really about to become super strong now? The thought strikes her, half panic and half excitement. A cafe owner hiding their true power, abandoning the bloody hunter world to run a cozy shop in front of a dungeon. A lonely but mysterious awakened individual with secret strength. Her little fantasy rolls in cinematic style inside her brain until Mio, the cat agent, cuts her daydream short, telling her to quit imagining random stuff and just check her stats. Stats the kind only visible to awakened individuals. The system flashes status before her eyes. She holds her breath, only to feel it instantly leave her chest. The numbers are shockingly low, almost at non-awakened level. Basically what a random regular person would have. It's like she got the title of Awakened without the power boost. A glorified cafe lady with a badge that says, "Congratulations, you're average." Mio, watching her fall apart, explains calmly that her awakening ability is formed based on the system's test results. She blurts out, "Don't tell her it's from that psychological test earlier." Mio nearly explodes, fur bristling as he shouts back that she dares to call it a psychological test. He scoffs loudly, reminding her that not just anyone can take that test. It's a sacred, traditional trial governed by the system itself, only accessible to the eligible. Those chosen by the system are granted unique abilities directly, no random lottery, no copy-paste powers. But she's not buying it. She snaps back that if this was so special, why are her stats such a disaster? Why is she trapped here, awakened but with such mediocre abilities? She waves her arms at him, accusing him of not listening, not caring. Mio finally point, the door reappears, materializing behind her as if mocking her earlier meltdown. He reminds her again that he is the great agent. He tells her not to be too disappointed and to focus on her skills instead. After all, didn't she already get a notification earlier about receiving them? Exclusive skills. That's the real jackpot, the true abilities of the eligible. Her mood whiplashes, curiosity flooding her. Earlier, 3 skills had indeed popped up. Even if her stats are meh, skills alone can sometimes flip the script. Some awakened individuals live entirely off one OP skill, making bank, surviving just fine. If her skills are even half decent, maybe this isn't a total loss. The first skill reads out as Cafe in my hand, C. It is currently LV.1, increases the quality of beverages made in the cafe. Available recipes are only mixed coffee. The second is Shiny Floors, E. It helps to speeds up bathroom cleaning. The last one is Smile, C. It says smiling improves the mood. She nearly drops to her knees. Cafe in my hand, Shiny Floors, Smile. She can't believe this. These are her powers? Skills that sound like the side quests of a janitor NPC? She blurts out loud how ridiculous this is, demanding to know the point of the last one especially. Smile? What does that even do? But a thought worms its way in. Maybe Smile has some kind of hidden ability? Maybe there's a trick to it. She decides to test it, plastering on the brightest smile she can manage. She waits. Nothing. Absolutely nothing happens. Not even a flicker. Her mood doesn't improve. If anything, it plummets further. She yells in frustration. This is seriously it? That's her great awakened skill set? She throws her hands up, voice echoing through the strange space as she screams what kind of useless skills these are. Of course, it's just as she thought. When has life ever worked out easily for her? She sighs, almost laughing at her own naivety. What was she even expecting from awakening for the first time? Nothing in her life has ever been smooth sailing, so why should this be any different? Meow, the cat casually munching on food like this is no big deal, reminds her not to despair too much. He claims he is here to help her hopeless situation. She thanks the cat without thinking, which only makes him snap and get pissed, demanding not to be treated like some random house pet. After all, he is the 7th agent of the system, and he deserves respect. She grins awkwardly and starts caressing him, half teasing and half serious, asking if it's okay if she treats him like this then. He snaps harder, tail flicking with irritation, and orders her to check the skill window properly again. Now that she looks more carefully, there's something else. There's a quest. Her eyes widen when she realizes that if she clears the quests given by the system, she will actually earn rewards. Rewards that matter. She immediately checks what kind of quest it is and finds out the first task is ridiculously simple. Practice using her skills, starting with the most basic thing, coffee. Her mind blanks for a second. Coffee? Like instant coffee? Is it literally the Maxim coffee she knows? The rewards, however, make her perk up instantly, 100 EXP and 50 rubies. She quickly recalls that rubies are the currency used in the hunter market. But how much is 50 rubies even worth? The numbers drop in her head like fireworks. Each ruby is worth 100,000 won. Each ruby, meaning 50 rubies equals 5 million won. Her jaw nearly hits the floor. 5 million won for making coffee? She's practically lucky that there's a storeroom stacked with all the necessary items ready for her. She bursts out laughing, fueled by excitement and disbelief. For 5 million won? Just wait for her. She is absolutely coming for that reward. Mio, however, warns her not to just make the coffee normally. She has to use the skill to make it, otherwise it doesn't count. Quan frowns in confusion, staring at the instant coffee packet. Isn't instant coffee literally just hot water poured into powder? And now she needs to use a skill for that too? It sounds ridiculous, but Mio tells her to just try anyway. So, she activates the skill and mutters for the coffee to come into her hand. The moment she does, her body jerks slightly, and her hands begin moving on their own. She stares wide-eyed, realizing what's happening. Her body is brewing coffee, not because she's doing it consciously, but because the skill itself is controlling her movements. Mio explains calmly that it's because she actually used the skill, not just her hands. Once the coffee is finished, she stares at the steaming cup and mutters that it's just instant coffee. What's there to check? But right at that exact moment, a status window pops up in front of her eyes. It literally says recovery speed increased by 100%. She almost drops the cup out of shock. This means that whenever she uses the cafe in her hand skill to make drinks, those drinks aren't just beverages, they actually grant special effects. Buffs. Enhancements. She blinks rapidly, trying to process it. Adding effects to coffee? She has never heard of something like this before in any hunter system, in any guild, in any story she's read. Mio sighs deeply, as if it's the most obvious thing in the world. Clearly, this is something only she can do. That's the true power of her skill, and for the first time she seriously thinks that maybe just maybe this is actually a pretty good skill. But then, the joy slips when she notices the effect duration decreasing. She worked hard to make this coffee, so she can't just let it go to waste. She takes a sip, and the bitter taste blends unexpectedly smoothly with sweetness in her mouth. The flavor lingers on her tongue, rich and satisfying, almost too good for just instant coffee. Mio watches her in disbelief, stunned that she actually downed the whole cup in one go. Kwon finally understands, so this is how quests progress. It all clicks in her head. This feeling is so familiar. It's just like the cafe management games she used to play. Clearing quests, unlocking new recipes, earning rewards, making money. That's the cycle, right? If the first quest already gave her 5 million won, then obviously the next quest's reward will skyrocket even higher. Completing quests and stacking rubies could make her rich in no time, and she can already see herself flexing with her upgraded cafe empire. Mio notices her brimming with way too much confidence, and of course, she justifies it proudly. After all, the soul of her buddy, coffee, still resides within her. Making 100 cups of instant coffee? Easy. She could do that with her eyes closed. For her, it's no big deal. But Mio warns that it might be better not to make too many cups too quickly. She frowns immediately, questioning why, because obviously clearing quests faster means earning money faster. She puffs her chest and declares in her mind that she'll show off the skills she once used to climb to the top of rankings without spending a single dime. But the next scene is a total vibe killer. She is seen lying pale on the bed, her body trembling strangely. Her heart is racing like crazy, her stomach twisting in knots. The system message may not have popped up yet, but her body screams the truth. This is caffeine overload. Mio sighs. Didn't he already tell her not to make too much? She cries back at him mentally, saying he didn't warn her it would be this serious. But Mio points at the obvious: drinking more than 3 cups of coffee a day causes a status ailment. Her brain freezes at the words. Only 3 cups per day? Then wouldn't that mean it'll take her at least a month to finish this one quest? Mio tells her there's no need to rush, and isn't this a good thing? Didn't she want to take things slow anyway? Sometimes taking it easy is important. After all, she literally dreamed of working less and resting more. But she clutches her head in frustration. Getting stuck with a status ailment because of a tutorial quest? That makes no sense. She wants a reset, a save point, something. Anything. Outside, a group of people happen to notice the vending machine that had appeared earlier. Its bright sign says free coffee. They glance at each other, suspicious. Should they even try it? One mutters aloud, who in their right mind would drink such blatantly suspicious coffee? It's so random, so sketchy. Meanwhile, Kwon is practically begging from inside, shouting in desperation that it's not weird coffee. She promises. Just 1 cup each, that's all she asks. But one by one, they pass, unwilling to risk it. She returns inside, slumping in defeat, realizing again that this attempt is another failure. The cafe in her hand skill only activates properly when the beverages are prepared and consumed inside the cafe itself. In other words, someone actually has to sit down, step into her cafe, and drink the coffee she makes there. Vending machines won't cut it. She stares at the plain instant coffee she's boxed into serving and scoffs bitterly. Who would willingly visit a cafe that only serves instant coffee? Seriously, does she have no choice but to spend an entire month grinding through this tutorial quest? Just then, Mio's ears twitch. A weird noise echoes from outside. Kwon hurries out, and to her shock, she sees a woman lying on the ground, sobbing weakly. Panic surges through her, and she rushes over, asking if the stranger is all right. The girl slowly stirs, blinking tiredly, and admits she just got exhausted and collapsed for a moment. Kwon takes in the sight: someone clearly overwhelmed with work, visibly drained and worn down. This is it, the very image of a typical overworked K-office worker. Kwon doesn't hesitate. She offers the girl a hand and insists she rest inside her cafe for a bit. Because to Kwon's eyes, this girl is not just a passerby, she's the perfect test subject for her coffee. Kana has been fascinated by dungeons ever since she was young, always seeing them as a treasure trove of the unknown. To her, they were like a mysterious, otherworldly phenomenon granted by the system itself. There was simply no place better suited to fuel her curiosity and passion than inside a dungeon. Wanting to learn more about them, she even prepared for the civil service exam, setting her sights on the Dungeon Management Bureau, a place that everyone dreams of getting into. The moment she sat for the interview, the examiner couldn't help but wonder how she even knew that much. It was suspiciously detailed knowledge, almost unnatural for someone her age. Unless she had memorized the dungeon management regulation. Without hesitation, she replied that she had indeed memorized it. Not only that, she had also committed the entire Abyss ecosystem investigation report to memory. That left the interviewer speechless. The result of her application was, of course, successful. She had passed. The moment she learned that she was accepted, she grew super excited, practically trembling at the thought because now, finally, she could work on dungeon-related tasks. That dream she had chased since childhood was about to unfold in reality. And soon, the very first day of her work arrived. It was then someone asked her if she didn't know her main job would be managing the hunters within her jurisdiction. Hearing that, she beamed, thinking, wow, it actually sounded like such an important job. Back then, however, she truly didn't know what awaited her. She didn't realize that not being able to reach anyone during work hours was considered common. She didn't realize that even when she gave clear instructions, most hunters would only get annoyed at her tone. She didn't realize that they would shamelessly dump all sorts of trivial errands on her shoulders. And through all of that, her heart shifted. Slowly, and then all at once, she began to absolutely hate hunters. It took barely a week of working before she became what she herself would later call a hunter-hater. She had dreamed of managing and researching dungeons, but instead, all she found herself doing was running pointless errands for hunters who never respected her. It was during this time, weighed down by disappointment, that she stumbled. She fell face first onto the ground, kinda thinking in frustration if maybe she should just quit already. She entered a cafe in that state, weary and worn down. Quan, the one inside, greeted her and told her to make herself comfortable. Kana hadn't even realized there was such a warm and cozy cafe tucked right in front of Dungeon Gate 3 Street. Kana lifted the cup with little expectation, took a sip, and paused. This instant coffee tasted amazing. Normally, she never even touched instant coffee. But the sweet flavor and gentle aroma melted into her chest like warmth flowing straight into her heart. She grew flustered, embarrassed at how much she was enjoying it, muttering to herself that she must have started yapping too much. But Quan only seemed glad that she enjoyed the coffee. She even added that she could take another glass if she wanted. Kana, almost without realizing, ended up drinking 2 cups of it. At last, she pointed out to Quan that she should probably be heading out now, though her voice carried a reluctant softness. She thanked her sincerely for the coffee because in that moment, it was more than just a drink. Quan notices that Kana definitely seems much more lively now than when he first saw her, though deep inside, she wonders if hoping for a complete recovery might still be too much to ask. Mio, watching silently, finally remarks that the quest is progressing. She then questions Quan curiously, asking why Kana feels so delicate. Quan replies that she simply has a lot on her mind right now, because she has been carrying the weight of life itself, the exhaustion reflected in her every step. Sure, the quest is important, but it would be even better if she could simply make coffee for Kana again. The scene shifts. Kana wakes up the next morning and is instantly confused. Did she just wake up immediately, right now? Usually, she needs at least 5 alarms to even drag herself out of bed. But her body feels so light. Even that annoying, constant lead-like heaviness has vanished. Chronic fatigue, something she thought was her permanent curse, suddenly feels like a thing of the past. She sits up in disbelief, her mind racing what in the world even happened. As far as she remembers, yesterday was just another hellish workday like usual. But then, her memory sparks. She had met Quan. She had gone to her cafe. Without even thinking too much, Kana bursts back into Quan's cafe. Quan looks up in surprise, asking her if she managed to get home okay yesterday. Kana is hesitant, unsure if she should spill everything she's been wanting to say about the coffee. Before she can stumble over her words, Quan casually offers her another cup. And instantly, all hesitation flies away. Kana gets excited and practically bursts out with a quick yes. Yes. The moment she drinks it again, her mind feels crystal clear, her energy surges like a river through her veins, and she can't help but think the coffee she had yesterday truly was the answer. She looks up at Quan with bright, almost sparkling eyes, declaring that she has never had coffee like this before. It tastes truly extraordinary. She asks if there's some special recipe she uses to make it. Quan only laughs softly, shaking his head, telling her that it's just instant coffee. There's no special recipe, but she adds that she would gladly make it for her anytime she comes. That simple promise, paired with her smile, warms her so much that she can't hold back. She runs forward and jumps into her arms, hugging her tightly. Later on, Kana would often reflect on that exact moment, because to her that was the day she met an angel who protected office workers from their despair. And years later, Kana herself would mention this during an interview after she had risen all the way to becoming the director of the Dungeon Management Bureau. Since that day, Kana keeps stopping by the shop every single day. Thanks to that persistence, the quest is progressing smoothly. If Kwon manages to succeed, 5 million won will end up being hers. Drinking Kwon's coffee every day makes Kana feel like she can keep going. She says with confidence that the more she drinks, the better she will be able to finish her work. That makes Kwon wonder for a second if she has maybe already wrapped up her work ahead of schedule. Kana replies that actually, very soon, the tutorial dungeon in the abyss is about to open. The tutorial dungeon is the place where newly awakened hunters are trained, basically a beginner-friendly dungeon set up in a shrine-like format. This time, even a senior hunter from the US is flying in to observe, which adds way more pressure to the whole event. And hearing that the tutorial dungeon's manager is from the US makes Kana feel like this story is oddly familiar. It suddenly clicks in her memory before the regression. While progressing through the tutorial dungeon, there was a horrifying incident where monsters suddenly emerged through a rift. Back then, there were only rookie hunters nearby, so they couldn't handle the sudden invasion in time. A dungeon break had occurred, where monsters endlessly poured out of the rift without stopping. Those very monsters that escaped the gate ended up attacking nearby civilian homes. She remembers that during that time, an American hunter, who happened to be visiting Korea, tragically died in the chaos. The news broadcasted that event non-stop, blabbering about the incident all day long. Kwon completely forgot about that memory until now. She starts to wonder in panic which nearby house was it that got attacked by the monsters. No matter how much she thinks about it, it feels like it could only be her shop. She calls herself out, forcing her mind to think back when exactly was the date that incident happened. Maybe there's still plenty of time left before it all goes down. Kana notices the sudden change in her and asks if she's alright, but Kwon brushes it off and instead brings up the timing of the tutorial dungeon. She mentions that it is set to open in 3 days. Kwon is sitting there, regretting everything. In her previous life, she got caught in a crack and died. In this life, she wonders if she is destined to face a rampaging monster in the near future. Given how things are turning out, there seems to be only one way forward. The moon is setting, and she knows they must flee at all costs. Because in just 3 days, a monster will burst out from the tutorial dungeon gate. There is also a high chance that it could invade their shop. Myo questions her, asking how she even knows what will happen in 3 days. Kwon thinks to herself if it would be okay to tell Myo the truth. After all, a talking cat is already unrealistic anyway. She clears her throat, giving him a warning not to be shocked but to listen carefully. The truth is, she actually died once, and when she opened her eyes again, it was 3 years ago, which is extremely rare. Myo simply accepts it, saying so this is what she has been talking about. Kwon is surprised that he is not surprised at all. Myo only snorts, claiming that if one lives long enough, regression could happen at least once. The real shock, he says, is not her past, it's what is coming in 3 days. That statement hits like a truck. It is rare for monsters to come out of a gate, yet the original system of Abyss. She asks him to speak carefully, and though he tries to explain, the words glitch, scrambled with bursts of system error. It feels like someone is deliberately interfering. She sees secret warnings popping up, filled with error codes. Right now, it is just a young cat talking to her, but if a monster emerges through the gate, it might actually have fled because of fear of something even worse. And that something could be a higher grade monster. Kwon begins to panic, thinking she needs to get her things packed immediately. Myo sighs and asks her to calm down, reminding her that it is still uncertain whether monsters will appear this time. That is true, but still, just in case, Kwon wants to avoid being anywhere near danger. She thinks about whether she can run away alone right now. She could escape the monster and spend a night in a sauna, but then a horrifying thought strikes her: what if Kana or just a regular civilian encounters the monster in 3 days? She cannot even tell anyone about it. The scene shifts. People stare at her weirdly while Myo points out that if they really have to go this far, her outfit looks even more suspicious. But this is the only way. Kwon cannot risk her identity being revealed under any circumstances. Finally, the call connects. The receiver's voice comes through clearly. Yes, this is the Dungeon Management Agency. How can they assist her? She nervously claims she would like to report something. When asked for her name, she lies and gives a fake one. The management team follows up, asking the purpose of her call. She explains with urgency that they should please investigate the area near Dungeon Gate 3. The ground seems to be shaking there, and every time she passes by, she hears strange noises. There is a heavy, ominous vibe lingering in the area. The management responds with calm professionalism, saying they understand and will enhance patrols in the area. She finally exhales, collapsing slightly, so relieved that her report got through. Now she just needs to faithfully fulfill the role of a civilian safely evacuating. Since she has reported it, she needs to quickly decide on accommodation. And since Myo is with her, she wonders if she should look for a place that allows pets. Myo is chill about it, saying he is fine with anything, as long as it is not a confusing place. Just as they are figuring it out, they hear the doorbell ring. She opens the door and sees a blonde man who looks like a foreigner. Unfortunately, she cannot speak English, so she reluctantly asks how she may help. The man responds fluently in English, which completely short-circuits her brain. He is acting like some kind of actor with his bold gestures when Kana suddenly comes rushing in, asking him not to act that way. She pulls him along and introduces him to Kwon, explaining that he is a hunter who wanted to inspect the area near the tutorial dungeon, so she stayed behind to guide him. This is Mr. James Jack Smith, invited all the way from America. Hearing this, Kwon's face goes pale instantly, because this American hunter standing in front of her right now is the very same hunter who died before the regression. There are reports of danger near Kwon's cafe, so hunters are set to patrol the area today and tomorrow. Kwon feels relieved that the report went through properly, because then that American hunter guy won't end up dead. She gets all holy about it and announces that since she is here, everyone should please rest a bit before they go. She is just about to make some coffee, insisting that they should relax and enjoy today. James makes a weird face the moment he is given the coffee. He insists that this is not coffee at all, since he does not drink such instant coffee, and that reaction makes Kwon immediately pissed. To look down on mixed coffee, this biased human, seriously. She still makes herself pull it together because, after all, there is a guest here. A perfect sales smile skill has been prepared for moments exactly like this. She activates the skill Smile LV1. The description is simple. When she smiles, it feels better, the effect improves the target's mood, and the target's affection level increases. James finally gives in. He mentions that come to think of it, the smell does seem good. He takes the first sip, and it makes his whole body tremble with happiness because this coffee feels majestic. He even stands up in a sudden impulse, shocked that it is really this good. He never thought he would meet such an outstanding barista in a place like this. The coffee is so good that he immediately wants to invite Kwon to America. If she comes, he would like to show her the Grand Canyon. And if that's not enough, he is ready to show her America's dungeon. Kwon is baffled. No matter how good the coffee tastes, she cannot believe they are overreacting this much. But then again, could this possibly be the effect of the smile? It is a far trickier skill than she expected, so she knows she should be cautious. James suddenly senses something and calls Kana to come stand behind him. She questions what the issue is when, suddenly, from the wall, a C-rank monster emerges. It seems a monster has come out from the rift. Kwon panics, because the monsters are definitely supposed to appear tomorrow, so why now? James assures everyone that it is no big deal, and in a single move, he uses his fire ability to take down the monster. Kana is impressed that he took it down with just one skill, thanking him in awe. James, of course, starts flexing, pointing out that C-rank monsters are nothing in front of him. As expected, this life is different from the past, and Kwon has truly avoided a crisis. Kana leaves, saying she will contact the headquarters first and then come back. Meanwhile, James is still enjoying his coffee, not realizing that it's just regular instant mixed coffee. Kwon has only used her skills to make it feel so special. Since she can't exactly explain that, she plans to just roughly tell them something believable. She explains that if he goes to the supermarket, they sell coffee in packets like this, and if he asks for coffee exactly like this one, they will probably give it to him. Suddenly, she hears a strange noise. She looks back only to see James coughing blood. Shocked, she shouts his name and rushes to him, completely confused about what is happening. Wasn't the only monster the one that appeared earlier? But no, the truth is much worse. A cave jade bear has appeared, a monster that cannot even be compared to a mere C-class flaming raccoon. Against an A-class monster like this, there is simply no way to survive. James shouts for her to run, using his power to create a barrier that protects her. He urges her to hurry and run, but he cannot move any further. His face grows worse with each passing moment. She begs him not to give up already, but his strength is fading. In desperation, she turns to Mio, demanding that since he is an agent and not just some ordinary cat, he must be able to do something. But Mio seems lost in his own thoughts, wondering why something like that is even in this place. The cave jade bear isn't just a normal monster. It is a cursed pilgrim subjugated to the sealed mountain deity. Myo begins saying something strange to her, words she cannot fully understand. But then, suddenly, it hits her. Now that she thinks about it, if they go through that door, they can escape into another dimension. Right, it's way too early to die. After all, she has gone through regression, and she still hasn't even cleared the tutorial quest. Just a little more. Just a little more. But James insists that there is no way, that it is already too late. Now there is really no way to avoid it. Kwon blinks open her eyes and wonders why it is doing that. The bear suddenly stops moving, almost as if it is scared of something. Then a voice rings out, someone shouting that there's a fool who doesn't know their place, causing trouble here. The voice orders the bear to turn back, calling it Pilgrim, and declaring that this is his place, a place the bear has no right to step foot in. What happens next shocks her completely. The cave black bear turns to ashes. Kwon is literally unable to understand what just happened. Who was speaking just now? And what was that light earlier? There was definitely a light behind the cave black bear. Someone steps forward, approaching her. A young man appears from the shadows and asks if she is alright. She wonders what people he could possibly mean, but when she looks outside, her jaw almost drops. There's this whole squad waiting, teams of forces, reporters, everyone all assembled like they were here the whole time. Since when did people even arrive like this? She doesn't even recall hearing footsteps or commotion. James is being laid down carefully, and her chest tightens with worry. The doctor starts to examine him, steady hands moving quickly. Then, a familiar voice cuts through the chaos. Doki calls out to her, and when she turns, it's her cousin Jaiwon. He looks at her with that mix of scolding and concern and reminds her that he had already told her to call him if something like this ever happened. She tries to explain in a rush, saying there wasn't even time to call. But then she shoots back a question: how did he even get here? Was he summoned because of the emergency? Jaiwon isn't here to waste words. He just tells her to come over so he can treat her. She insists she's fine, brushing him off, but her refusal makes him snap in frustration. She doubles down, assuring him again that she's really fine, but then pleads with him instead. Please, treat this hunter before her. James is badly injured. That's when everyone sees it. The bleeding has stopped, and his wounds are closing up on their own way too fast. It's the healing light, that much talked about skill everyone whispers about in awe. Jaiwon's presence makes the whole thing more intense, because he's not just anyone, he's the country's number 12 ranked top healer. If there's anyone who could treat James, it should be him. But her heart sinks when she asks how he assesses James's condition and hears his hesitation. His expression shifts, and finally, he admits that this might be difficult. Her thoughts stumble. Isn't healing light supposed to cure anyone as long as they're still breathing? Isn't that the legend? Then the new guy steps in, throwing another curveball at her by pointing out that the monster earlier was in the shape of a bear. She remembers what James said and confirms it was an A-rank cave black bear. Jaiwon's eyes narrow, processing that information. An A-rank cave black bear. That's not just rare, that's nightmare material. Monsters like that hardly ever show up in the wild, and when they do, they bring curses along with them. The claws of the cave black bear are cursed, and that's where the real problem lies. Healing skills don't work against cursed wounds. Sure, the external injuries have closed up, but the parts that the curse has already overtaken are resisting healing entirely. To cure James completely, the curse itself would need to be lifted first. And here's the kicker: there isn't a single hunter in Korea capable of dispelling an A-rank curse. Kwon's mind spins. There has to be some kind of way, right? Because if there isn't, then what about Mr. James? She trembles, her stomach twisting at the thought. She simply can't stand here and do nothing while he fades in front of her. There has to be something, anything, she can do. Then her memory jolts back to the smallest of details. Before the monster even appeared, Mr. James had 2 cups of mixed coffee, the very same kind she had prepared. The effect of cafe in my hand mixed coffee doubles recovery speed by 100%. It's such a ridiculous, almost comedic thought, instant coffee holding weight against a cursed wound, but right now, it's the only shred of hope she has to cling to. So the thought hits her like a desperate gamble: if 2 cups of mixed coffee doubled recovery speed, then maybe, just maybe, drinking a 3rd cup might boost the effect even more. It's absurd, borderline laughable, and the chances it'll even work are slim, but in this moment, it's the only fragile hope they have left.